Welcome back to Z to Z. We are now at our 16th episode. If you're a first-time listener to this podcast, we are a franchise podcast that is focused on providing information to Z's by Z's. So let's talk Z to Z. Now, I'm excited to have on the show a newfound friend. He was introduced to me by a longtime friend, Carrie Spriggs, who was a guest on Z to Z a few months back. Rob is the president and CEO of WaterRock Financial Network and WaterRock Insurance. With more than 20 years of insurance experience at every level of the industry, Rob is a family and small business advocate and an expert when it comes to insurance. In addition to protecting businesses and families, Rob is a mentor and business coach to new and seasoned agents alike. He truly cares about protecting his clients. In fact, he says his mission is to change the industry and take it to a whole other level. I'm happy to have Mr. Rob Thomas on Z to Z. Rob, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be on our humble podcast show.
Hey, Louis, thanks for having me, man. It's been a privilege to get to meet you and get to know you, and really excited about being a part of the podcast today.
Yeah, me too, man. It was, during our many conversations we've had, it just evolved into so many things, and the opportunity for you to be on the show was perfect. I mean, it couldn't be perfect, and what we're talking about today is it's going to be great.
Excited, and so make sure that you send Carrie another thank you for connecting us.
I know. I owe her big. I'm gonna probably send her a nice bottle of wine. It's Valentine. Carrie, if you're listening, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, Carrie. Thanks for connecting us.
Yeah, that's great. So she's a really good friend of mine, like I said, and so we're really excited to have you on. Again, I don't want to get into all the conversations we've had, but there is, just to let our listeners know, is that there is a bigger purpose here for this particular. This is the start of something that is a dream of Rob's, and I have the pleasure and the opportunity to be a part of Rob's journey moving forward, and this is the beginning of it. So I'm really happy to be a part of that. And so, Rob, before we start, let's get the listeners up to date on what you do, and tell us a bit about your company.
Yeah, and I'll preface it by saying this. I think that any successful business owner, business leader has two key things in their lives. The one thing they have is they have people that they are mentoring, but when they're ready to make a jump to another step and another level in their business, they need people who can mentor them. And Louis, that's what I appreciate about you, because that's what you're doing for me and my business, is you're mentoring me in understanding really how to take my business on that journey of franchising, because that's the next step for us. I've been in this business for, like you read, over 20 years. I started out with New York Life a long time ago. And, I struggled to spell the word insurance at that time. I had no idea what I was doing. And along the way, you make a ton of mistakes, and you learn, and you grow, and you fall, and you fail, and you succeed. There's all of that goes into it. And the journey of entrepreneurship is definitely not for the faint of heart. So, we like I said, we've been in this industry for a long time. A couple of years ago, we had the opportunity to launch our own insurance marketing organization. We got contracts with the life carriers that allowed us to begin to hire and bring on new agents. But Louis, there's something in this industry that it absolutely kills me. And that is, across the board in insurance, there is a 95 to 98% failure rate with agents.
Wow.
And the bulk of that happens within the first 7 to 18 months of being in this business. And within 2 years, it's almost 100% turnover. And the only people that are really succeeding in this business overall are the insurance companies. Now, look, I'm not pointing fingers at them, and I'm not saying they're the bad guys. I'm simply saying that, what a marketing plan for them. Recruit as many people as you can, grab as much of their market as they have, and hey, if they fall to the wayside and fail, well, that's on them.
Yeah, they'll just go right to the next guy.
Exactly. Yeah. So for them, it's a war of attrition and just continuing. And for me, man, it just kills me because I've seen more people in financial ruin. I've been at a place of financial ruin going through this business, and it was only by my sheer grit and determination that I survived in it. So, that's been our journey. And now we're looking at something that we've begun to build and create in a business model that doesn't really exist. It's taking current things, but it's adding some pieces that we have access to, that no longer do agents have to pay to buy leads. No longer, they can actually get paid to get leads. And these are qualified hot leads that want to work with them. And we've become a business that is truly not just one-stop shop, but a business owner's hub. So if you own a business out there and you come to us, there's almost nothing that we can't help you with in making your business succeed. And to me, if I can help agents succeed and I can help other businesses succeed, Louis, this is the greatest job in the world.
Yeah, no, 100%. And this is what I can hear and see the passion in what you're doing. But your passion is not only within the industry, but also beyond that, and causing that change, right, to happen. And what am I going to do to better this industry not only for myself, but for my colleagues and peers around me, right?
Absolutely. And I think, that long term, the industry has to adopt some changes.
Right.
We've come to a place where the majority of agents live and die by price. And if they don't have the right carriers or the right this or the right that they're dying and shrinking. But this business is much bigger than that. And I often tell people, this is the greatest business in the world. Now, if you've got other franchises, I know you think that yours is the best, and it probably is. But for us, we look at it this way. Every day we help people protect the things that are most important to them, and that's their family and their finances. We protect that every day. On someone's worst day, we get to be the only person showing up with a check to help make sure that family stays intact. And when we do our jobs the right way, when the right systems are built around that agent, they actually get paid better than doctors to do their job.
Yeah, that's amazing. And when I was visiting these agencies that were small mom and pop, maybe one or two, maybe 2, 3 at the most locations that they had, I always would think, and this was again before I knew what franchising was, and all about it. I had one of our biggest clients start to do the franchising model. I really didn't know what it meant, what it did. But it was a great concept that was for an industry that was actually in need of it. Right. And because there's only so much that a small business owner on its own who created its own widget can actually do, unless you got a lot of capital behind you and you got some really good people around you that can support you in that way. There's a probability of that happening. But for the most part, these guys they can only scale up to maybe 2 or 3 units, and that's about it.
Right.
With franchising, it allowed them to move beyond that, right? And get out there and really expand their brand into not only within their communities, but within other states around the country. One of the things that we specialize in my insurance experience was the Hispanic market, right? So we were able to expand through franchising on this particular brand, expand our reach out to more Hispanic market. And I think that's what this does. And I think this is what franchising, this is why I love it. And I think this is why, like going back to what you're saying, this is why it's a good fit from what you want to do. And we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. As we got started, again, like I said, been in the business for a long time, but when you kind of shift gears and suddenly you get the kinds of contracts we were able to secure and your business model changes, it's a startup, right? You're going from, I know exactly how I'm doing it, to, okay, I got to start over from scratch. And that's kind of where we were at just a little under 2 years ago. And part of that change was, all right, now I have to recruit agents across the country. And so we had to get our recruiting legs underneath us. And what does that look like? And how do we do that? And that took us a few months to really kind of figure that out. And once we figured that out, Louis, I had a recruiting of last May and June. I hit a recruiting vein that was just insane. And we were literally having between 15 and 30 people a day apply to us to become agents with us.
Wow.
A day. It got crazy. It got so fast and furious, and we were running trainings all the time. But what I found is that we recruited 200 agents in about 30 days and saw none of those quote unquote agents follow through the system and actually do something to become productive. And it killed me because we were giving them an opportunity of a lifetime to do that. Right. And people just like they didn't want to work. And what I came back to was the fact that all of these people signed up and they virtually had no skin in the game because of the way that the model was set up for IMOs and this kind of thing. There's no skin in the game. Beyond you getting your license, there's no skin in the game. Now, if you're buying leads, like a lot of them do, they have their own lead companies and you're buying leads. Those leads cost anywhere from, I've seen them as low as $10, which are really, you and I know those are junk leads, all the way up to $100 a pop.
Right.
And so I know there's an IMO out there that tells their agents they need to be prepared to spend about $1,000 to $1,500 a week in leads.
Right. Right.
That's $6,000 a month for a 1% return.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
I talked to a lady who she was like, yeah, I've been doing this for about a year and I had to step out for about 6 months because I went $22,000 in debt buying leads. And I'm like, this is insanity. I talked to another guy and was trying to explain our process and he goes, oh, don't worry about it. I got $55,000 in credit. I can buy leads. And I'm like, you're 23 years old. You're going to go $55,000 in debt before you really ever turn a profit in a business.
Yeah.
And that's the model right now. That's what's going on. So for me, it was like, man, there's no skin in the game coming in. Right. And that's when I started going, what if we franchised this? What if we took what we were doing and franchised it? Now, I didn't know the first thing, Louis, about where to go, what to do, who to talk to. Yeah. So, and I'm real cautious about just reaching out to somebody because they may or may not have my best interest in mind. Right. But when Carrie referred me to you, it wasn't even for franchising. Like that came up during our conversation, if you remember.
It did.
Right.
It did.
But that's primarily because through that, we weren't even talking about that, but there was a trust that was built between us. And I knew I can trust this guy with my dream. Yeah. And I could start exposing that to you. And here we are. So that's kind of been my journey on some of this stuff.
Yeah, no. And I truly appreciate, because it's a privilege and an honor for me to be in a position to where I can help people achieve their dreams and realize that. And you know, you and I spoke many times in the past, and I've mentioned this to you before, is that, you know, you in this business, you have to be transparent. You know, when somebody trusts you enough, you have to be transparent. You have to be honest. And whether or not they're ready to franchise or not their business, you know, and that's important because there's a lot that goes into franchising, and you know, and you know, again, we've had these many conversations before, and I've never really kind of said, oh, this is the easiest thing. It's very simple and easy to do. It's not. It is another difficult path that you take from being a business that sells or does insurance in this case, to now a franchise that happens to sell insurance, you know, and be in the insurance business. You have that mind shift, like you and I talked about. You have that mind shift from being a business owner who sells insurance to now a franchisor who's in the business of doing that, and helping other people achieve their dreams. Because you become a dream maker, Rob. You're the dream maker now. You know, in a sense, that's what you become. You're going to be talking to people day in and day out of how I want to achieve my dream as a business owner, and providing a franchise opportunity for them to do that. Right.
You know, ironically, when we started the IMO, that was part of what our recruiting was. One of my first questions when I would get on an interview with a potential agent was, what's your dream? Tell me what your dream is. because we realized that that's what we were offering, was a way for people to achieve that dream. The things that they have always thought were completely impossible suddenly could become a reality. But again, we kept running into the wall that people would go. In fact, I had one person I was interviewing. We did not further the interview after this, by the way. She literally sat there and I said, why do you want to become an agent? She goes, it just looks easy. And I thought, you got no idea. Like you have no idea. It's being an agent, being a business owner is hard. Being an agency business owner is a hard road.
Yeah.
And unless you've got the right people around you, the right support system, and the right processes, you're going to be fighting a severe uphill climb.
Yeah.
Now that's not a great sales pitch for people who may want to become one of our franchisees, man. But I'd rather tell them that up front and say, we have that, than to lie to them, like you say, through my teeth and say, this is the easiest thing you'll ever do. No, dreams are never easy.
Yeah, no, 100%. And especially in the insurance industry, you and I both know that you're right. Being an agent is not easy. Being a business owner, you have to understand that is what you do. That is your mission, is to help your community solve its financial issues, prepare them for the inevitable, whatever type of insurance you sell. It's a great opportunity that you're entering. And so you're stationed out in Albuquerque, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm here in Albuquerque.
Okay. Now, is this you do you have partners? How is it structured?
So my primary partner is actually my son. We started this kind of as a family thing. I've got a couple other guys that are, I'll call them like junior partners. They have a small equity stake in what we do, but it's all contingent upon growth. So we have to hit some certain milestones for them to get that equity stake. Beyond that, this is me. You're talking to the franchisor right here. And it's not because we want the buck to just stop with me. I mean, I'm all about building a team of people, but again, it's building the right team around you. And we certainly have had our share of people that ended up not being right team members. Yeah. And you're going to learn that along the way. And the hardest thing you have to learn as a business owner is, hey, when to cut ties, when to actually call them into your office and say, I like you. You're a good person. This isn't a right fit. Best of luck. And, so that's kind of how we're structured from a standpoint of, we started off as just an agency. We've grown in that. We're now in multiple states. And now we're looking to make that next step into the franchise model where we can open up, regions, and we can open up states, and we can open up cities and things like that, and really put our footprint inside of, I'll say it this way. So the insurance world, we call the insurance world, right, the red ocean right now. Yeah. If you've ever read that book, Red Ocean, Blue Ocean, the red ocean is where everybody is fighting over the same business. They're all, and that's what we see in insurance. That's why insurance is a commodity based on price. Who has the cheapest price? But no one has ever called me, Louis, and said, hey, that cheap insurance you sell me, am I covered for this? Rob, I had an accident. Am I covered? That's what they want to know at the end of the day. They didn't care about the price. They just want to know, was I covered? Or, hey, dad just died. Did he have life insurance?
Right.
Have that call. Right. So not only being able to do it right, but how do we take insurance and move it from the red ocean that's chaotic with 1.2 million insurance agents in the United States, all fighting over the same people, and open up the blue ocean where we're in an entirely new market space, and the people come to us because we have what they want and need, but it's in a way that they've never been able to experience before. And it's no longer chaotic. It's no longer really just this feeling of I'm being sold a used car. Yeah. All of that stuff, right? And that's the model that we've kind of created. And so we talk about, when we talk about inviting agents in, hey, we want to take you out of the red ocean and put you in this blue ocean. What we offer, the people are actually coming to you because they're going, this is what I've been looking for.
And Rob, there's many factors in franchising that are important, but One thing that is really important when you're starting to franchise and you're starting to getting in that realm is understanding your franchisees that you're bringing on. And I know that you and I have that conversation, and I had many conversations with other potential franchisors that are wanting to get into this market, and even franchisees themselves, is they have to understand, as a franchisor, you have to determine who that perfect, well, not perfect, but who that avatar is that's going to fit your brand, right?
Right.
Because it's not anybody that has a pulse and money is going to be an effective franchisee. It,
Right.
it doesn't happen. I've seen it many times. Franchisors just bringing in everybody, every Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes through the door and says, "Hey, listen, give me my franchise fee, and you're in."
Right.
And that never works. It may work for a little short time, but not for the long term.
Right.
And in franchising, this is all about the long term.
Right.
Success in franchising is about the long term, and that why it's early preparation is important. Have you thought about that? I know you and I have had some conversations about that, but that is a key component
Yeah.
of your success.
Well, absolutely, and we actually have thought about it. So when we started the IMO side of insurance, the first thing we did before we ever launched out in our recruiting model was to start to define who is that avatar, and we had really a male avatar and a female avatar, for lack of a better way to put it in today's culture. We really did, but we identified a couple different people, and one, we wanted to target that 30 to 45-year-old father. Maybe he's working at a brewery or coffee shop. He's trying to figure out how to make ends meet for his family,
Mhm.
and but he's got that business mind. He's great with people. He's not just outgoing, but he's
Right.
savvy. He's an entrepreneur at heart, and you know those people when you meet them, because they have a dream. Like, you can ask them, what's your dream? I really want to do this. I want to own my own business. I want to become this. Why do you want to do it? Well, because I want a better house for my family. I want to be able to make sure we pay off the cars and put money away for college. And they've got these goals, dreams, and desires that they're really trying to accomplish. They just don't have the vehicle to get them there.
Yeah.
And so we kind of laid out all of those traits with that guy, and then we did the same on that female side. Maybe a more aggressive lady who maybe is in medical or pharmaceutical sales, but is tired of all the travel and having to be gone from her family all the time. Maybe she's divorced and just trying to figure out how to build a life for her and her kids. And so those became our two primary avatars. And when we go through our list of people that we've recruited and had some success, they really fall into that category because we were able to focus and target into those kinds of people.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And I think anybody that's wanting to get into franchise and as a franchisee, as a new franchisee coming on board, you really have to think about that. You really have to think of, what skills do I have that I can take into a particular brand that I'm interested in, right? And one of the things that I see a lot happening is, and again, I'm not all the brands do this, but they have a tendency to do this, especially when it comes to the fact that they're behind in the numbers. They have so many franchise sales that they have to accomplish within the year, and so they start getting desperate at the end of the time, like around third, fourth quarter, right?
Yeah.
So when franchisees come to the door, so not only do I help companies like yourself go into franchising, understand the franchising, how that works, and then transition into that model, but also franchisees that are coming in, you have to understand what your skills are, and then match those skills to that particular brand. And not every brand is going to fit your skills, and you can't put a square peg in a round hole. It ain't going to work as much as you try to.
One of the things that happens, I think, and I learned this lesson in some of my other business coaching that I was doing in insurance, that when you get desperate and you start just putting warm bodies in places, it may be a good short-term fix, but long term, it actually ends up costing you more money and more time than it would have if you had just taken the loss and moved forward.
Right.
And I think that's important to know because it's easy to get into a place of desperation. But desperation makes you make bad decisions. People who should never be in insurance get sucked into it because of the allure of money, of the allure of your own business, but they were not the right fit to begin with. And you've got somebody who's recruiting them because they go, hey, I got another number, I got another person, and if they just sell a couple policies, I make some money and blah, 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 right? You can have all of the reasons why, but what ends up following is destruction of that person financially, emotionally, all the way down. It takes its toll. And then you as a business, it takes a toll on you because now you are playing the war of attrition. So I think that, for me, as we move into this franchise model, I'm really keen on the fact that we want to have a solid, really well thought out vetting process for our franchise owners. That I'm not interested in just putting anybody in those places because those people become inadvertently my business partners.
Correct.
And as a business partner, I now have the responsibility of doing everything within my power to help them succeed because my success now completely becomes hinged on their success. And if you put the wrong person in there, then the outcome of success becomes that much harder to achieve.
That's correct. And not only do they become your partner, but they become your brand representative.
Exactly.
And make that a focal point, in the conversations that a franchisor has with a potential franchisee is, how do they protect? Tell me a little bit about your past and what you've done to really, provide an enhancement at your prior career, at a prior business. What do you think of brand management? How, all these types of things that go along with the protection of your brand is a key element in, again, one other key element in finding, the perfect franchisee.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that because when your brand is affected, it doesn't just affect that particular franchisee. It affects the entire franchise. It reflects across the board.
Correct.
I can have a franchise in Las Vegas, Nevada that is just killing it and they're great and they're amazing. And I can have another one in South Carolina that is just tanking the brand. And the problem is it affects Vegas just as much as it affects South Carolina.
Right.
Because suddenly it's the brand that is being brought down. So, even early on in what we're doing and why I think that we become really starting to be good positioned for franchising is we set out and we created a brand. We have brand style forms. You can't use, there are colors that are identified as our brand. There are logos that are identified as our brand. You can't deviate from those. You can't move away from those. You have to carry those through. And if you do, we'll pull it. We'll pull you because you're not representing the brand.
Yeah.
All of that is important.
Yeah.
And,
right. It's critical. You're spoken like a true franchisor, man. I'm impressed. Franchisees are doing this because they don't want to create the widget themselves. They don't want to spend the time and the money and the energy to create the widget themselves. So hence franchising, right? So, the widget's already created. They're just working from a foundation. And that foundation has to be tight, has to be strong, has to be solid, right? Because at the end of the day, as a franchisor, your responsibility is brand protection, obviously, but to provide an operation standard that is going to permit profitability.
Yeah.
And that is the key focus. Another key focus on, so that's number 3 is one is proper vetting, brand protection, and operational profitability. You and I, when we start to go through this process, we're going to take a look at these 3 components and we're going to take a look at profitability because that's important. That is your, has the company been making money previously?
Right.
And then it goes from the franchisor making money, in a sense for their corporate locations to, single unit economics is we're going to delve into that. a little more, but where you have that single unit economics are these franchisees that you've established going to make some money, and are they set to do that?
Right.
And that is an important part of all this.
Well, look, if you're going to spend money to buy a franchise and that franchise isn't going to make money, then it's a bad investment, right? It's a poor way to try and achieve your dream. I'm going to take my money, dump it in, and not make any money. That's a bad thing. And so, it's incumbent upon me and our team to help build the right systems. And in insurance, when you get into the depths of insurance, the complexities of policies, that's a different conversation. But on the surface of running a business consulting insurance agency, which is what we're really becoming, there are two key factors in this, Louis, that make or break an agency. And it's only these two. And if you can master these two, then you can be successful. And it is simply this: see enough people, say the right things. Those two key elements. Now, there are other things that go into that, but if we boil it down to those two things, the agency, the franchise owner has to be able to say, how am I going to see enough people? And what do I say when I see them? And I think for our franchise, those are two things that we have answered at an exceedingly high level, way above what the average agency does. And what we've done is instead of an agent, a franchise owner having to figure out how do I spend a truckload of money to get really bad leads to get a 1% to 2% return. That's a losing proposition because you got to see a bunch to really gain the growth. What if we could flip that around and we could instead, what we're seeing in right now is that we've created a pathway where the leads are coming in a way that we're getting paid for those leads to begin with. The conversations we're able to have out of the gate are conversations that absolutely make sense to other business owners, and they want to talk to us. We have an exclusive on what we do, so there's no competition in the water for us in what we do, and then we suddenly have access to large groups of people. Those large groups of people, we are seeing if you had 100 people in that group, 70% are booking appointments with us, 50% are actually following through on that, and 30% or more are actually closing deals with us individually on the insurance side.
Right. What Andy didn't ask you, what type of coverages do you offer? What type of insurance are you doing?
So for us, we offer everything. So we originally started in the life insurance space, and that's our primary. That's where we make the majority of our money. But then we back it up with solidifying the entire household, not only with life insurance, but with auto insurance, home insurance, umbrella, all of the key pieces. But in addition to that, the business insurance, because we're working through businesses primarily our model is B2B.
Okay.
And then that B2B breaks down into the household. So we've got I get business owners who tell me weekly, Rob, we want you to take over everything. So suddenly we're taking over all their business insurance, their work comp. We've just added a whole new line of white labeled for us payroll and national contracts with health insurance. Right. So and we've got teams of people that do that for those franchisees. So they're not having to learn all that simultaneously. Again, it's about saying the right things, seeing enough people, right?
Yeah.
So we're opening up all of those lines of business, and then we're able to back it up with taking over the retirement plans and managing that with some of our partnerships that we have as well. And so that makes it pretty unique, but we also have this whole system of, without getting too deep into it, tax rebates and incentives that businesses qualify for. So give you an example. I'm working with a small food manufacturing company right now. And my entree to them was a referral because I did work for another business. They called them, we got in, and we're recovering almost $250,000 in tax rebates and incentives for that company. Now, when you show up and you're the only insurance agent, broker, financial planner, CPA, whatever you're the only one showing up saying, I can get you $250,000, the game changes.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
And suddenly they're going, Rob, we don't want you just to get that back for us. We want you to do all of our business insurance. We have a 3 to 5 year window to when we want to retire, and our business is our retirement. So we need all of those plans put together. We want plans for our employees. We want plans. They're opening up the table and going, here's everything. Help us with everything. That account alone for our agency, Louis, will probably be worth in the neighborhood of over the next 4 to 6 months, probably close to $200,000 in revenue for us.
That's amazing. That is amazing. That and having that diversity in your programs is also great to have, because that provides value for the new franchisee coming through. So now, if I want to buy a franchise, what licenses do I need?
Go ahead.
And if I don't, what plans? What is it that you can do to help me get that?
Yeah, so those are great questions. So you really need 2 sets of license. You need your and they typically come together one test. Life accident health is one license, and your property and casualty license. So 2 licenses, 2 tests you have to take. You can go. We can move you into the investment side of things if you want, but I don't ever recommend, especially a new franchisee, diving headfirst into that. We have partners who can handle that, shore that up, and we have ways that we can retain that business for you long term. So those are the 2 things. And literally, if you are motivated, we have the testing materials. We walk you through and help you get everything, right? So that gets you licensed, but license doesn't mean knowledge. It just means you pass the test. So we start putting you through the paces of learning. How do you develop your market? How do you develop your centers of influence? How do you start generating? And I did this as the potential franchisee, right? I want my franchise. I mean, as a potential franchisor, I want my franchisees to know I've walked the path. I've done this, right? That's important, I think, for them, but it's important for me to know as well. So several months ago, I decided, all right, if I was at ground zero and I had just gotten my license and I'm buying a franchise, how would I get started? And so the question was, how quickly could I get things ramped up? And within 2 weeks, I had close to 20 businesses that had been referred to me and were in my pipeline. And I had over 75 people that had requested appointments with me for individual insurance within 2 weeks.
Again, that goes back into that finding that franchisee that is willing to do the work behind it to get that to accomplish, right? That's amazing that within 30 days, you can really be up and ready to go with the licenses that you need, your PNC and your life and health.
Yep.
And now how, what type of businesses do you usually work with?
So, the nice thing is that, most every business we can work with. There are some sweet spots: manufacturing, medical, even construction has a lot that we can do. We love businesses that have 10 or more employees that have health insurance or want to offer health insurance, because that opens up some doors to some things that we can do that become our leads into it. But if they don't have 10 or more, then we have other avenues that we can create that will create the same kinds of leads. Right. And we feel like one of the most underserved market spaces in the U.S. is the small business market space.
Yep.
Because they don't represent to the average financial planner a big sweet spot of money to work with.
Yep.
But they account for one of the largest portions of our economy.
Yep. Right.
And so, and if you know what you're doing, it's not about how much money do they have to work with now. It's about how much service, how many ways can you serve that business and help them? And I am a master proponent of the fact that you can have everything you want in life if you just help enough people get everything they want. And so as a franchisee, if you take that mindset and you go out and you serve other businesses, you will be well served in your business.
So this is a great example of a brand that is looking out, in my opinion, for the franchisee. And so in turn, the franchisee can look out for the small business.
Yeah.
And I think we come full circle in helping each other, the franchisor helping the franchisee achieve their goal and dreams, and the franchisee having the small business owner achieve their goal. And Rob, I got to tell you, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on the show. Great information. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for us. I can't wait for the journey for us to begin. I would probably say that it's probably the journey started today.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to walking that path with you, sir.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be on this program. I mean, what a privilege it is for me to get to just kind of bear who I am and bear my heart, and hopefully that came through well to your listeners. And look, if you're a franchisee out there that just wants to bounce something off of someone, hey, you're welcome to reach out to me. I may not know your industry, but I know business. I know startups, and I've journeyed that path a few times, and now I'm journeying a new one, and I'm excited for it. So, Louis, it's been my privilege and honor to be on your show. So, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. So, if there's a franchisee out there that's interested in looking at and getting in contact with Rob, just send us an email at info@z2z.com. That's info@z2zee.com. Shoot me an email, and I will make sure that I get that over to Rob so he can answer your questions. He is coming up online here with a franchisor, so stay tuned. There is many steps to follow here that we have to go through to get him officially in a franchisor. But stay tuned. I'm excited for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all so much for having me today.
Take care, Rob. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rob, for sharing your journey and becoming a franchisor. It's going to be an exciting thrill ride, but in the end, it'll certainly be well worth the cost of admission. And let me say this again. I am honored to be included in that journey with you. And thank you again for sharing your story here with us on Z2Z. Another good friend of mine, Anthony Ayala, is a new Z from F45 CrossFit. We have been following him for the last few months, and now he's ready for his grand opening. I believe it's on March 4th here in Glendale, Arizona. So we'll be talking to him in a couple of weeks and see how it feels to open up his first unit and be officially open as a new Z. So we're looking forward to following these two gentlemen on their journey. So thank you for sharing your stories here again on Z2Z. Remember to check out all of our new and previous Z2Z episodes on www.z2zee.com. That's www.z2zee.com. Please don't forget to subscribe to our Z2Z podcast on your favorite podcast platforms, including Spotify. I always like to end our podcast with a favorite quote. Do you want to be safe and good for those around you, or do you want to take a chance and be great for those around the world? Have a great week, everybody.